What would your life look like if fear didn't control you? Imagine waking up every day knowing that nothing, absolutely nothing, could stop you from going after what you truly want. It may sound impossible, right? Fear is that constant voice in the back of your mind, telling you that you can't, that you'll fail, that it's too risky. Fear holds you back. It keeps you small. But what if I told you that fear doesn't have to be your reality anymore? What if, by the end of this, you could start breaking those chains and step into the life you were meant to live? Most people spend their whole lives running from fear. They avoid the tough decisions, they play it safe, and they settle for mediocrity. Why? Because fear makes us believe that we're not enough. It whispers that we're not strong enough, smart enough, or capable enough. It tells us that we're better off staying in the comfort of what we know, even if that means staying stuck in a place we don't want to be. But here's the truth. Fear is a liar. Fear doesn't want you to grow. It doesn't want you to succeed. It wants you to stay where it's safe, where it can control you. But deep inside, you know that there's more waiting for you. There's greatness. There's freedom. There's success. All of it is within reach. You just have to destroy the fear that's been holding you back. The moment you start understanding fear, you start seeing it for what it really is, a natural response designed to protect you. Your brain's job is to keep you safe, so when something feels uncertain or dangerous, fear steps in. It makes you hesitant, it freezes you, and it stops you from taking risks. And that's what holds so many people back. They see fear as something that's going to hurt them. But what if you saw it differently? What if fear wasn't something to avoid, but something to overcome? The first step to destroying fear forever is understanding that fear isn't the problem. It's how you respond to fear that matters. When you let fear control you, it keeps you from living the life you were meant to live. But when you choose to face fear head-on, when you step right into the things that scare you the most, that's when you start to grow. That's when you begin to realize how much power you truly have. Most people run from fear. They avoid it, they hide from it, they ignore it. But think about it for a second. Every time you let fear win, you're not just avoiding discomfort. You're avoiding your potential. You're avoiding the greatness that is already inside you. What does that say about your belief in yourself? It says that you don't trust your own ability to handle fear, to push through it, to rise above it. So here's what happens when you choose to face fear instead of running from it. You take away its power. Fear thrives on your hesitation. The longer you wait, the bigger it becomes. The more you avoid it, the more it grows, until it controls everything you do. But when you take action, when you move through fear, it shrinks. It becomes less threatening, and eventually it fades away altogether. Now, I know you may be thinking, but I'm scared. I'm terrified of what might happen if I fail. That's natural. Everyone feels that fear at some point. The difference is, some people let it paralyze them, and others let it fuel them. If you can learn to use fear as a motivator, as a sign that you're about to do something great, then fear no longer has control over you. It becomes just another signal that you're on the right path. You might not destroy fear overnight, but every step you take, every small victory over fear, brings you closer to the life you want. If you can push through the discomfort, the doubt, and the hesitation, you'll start to see just how strong you truly are. And as you do that, fear won't have the same hold over you anymore. It won't stop you from going after what you deserve. You'll look at fear and say, I see you, I know you're here, but you don't control me. So stick with this, stay focused, because what you'll learn here today can change everything for you. The power to destroy fear is already inside you, waiting to be unleashed. All you need to do is take the first step. Keep going, keep pushing, and keep watching. The freedom you've been craving is just on the other side of that fear. Fear is not your enemy. It's a natural part of being human. Your mind is wired to protect you, to keep you safe, and fear is one of the ways it does this. It signals to you that something could be dangerous, that you need to be cautious. But here's the thing. Fear doesn't always serve you. It's there to help you avoid physical harm, but when it comes to emotional or psychological challenges, fear becomes a hindrance. It keeps you from stepping out of your comfort zone, from taking risks that lead to growth. It tricks you into believing that you can't handle the challenges ahead. The truth is, fear doesn't define who you are or what you are capable of. It's a feeling, a temporary response to the unknown. And just like any other feeling, it can be changed. The problem isn't fear itself, it's how we respond to it. Most of us react to fear with avoidance. We take the safe route. We stay in jobs we hate, in relationships that don't serve us, and we suppress the dreams that call to us. But every time we avoid fear, we avoid growth. We avoid the person we are meant to become. What if, instead of running from fear, you chose to walk toward it? What if, instead of listening to the voice that tells you to play it safe, you embraced the discomfort and took action anyway? You see, when you face your fears, when you step into the unknown, you realize something powerful. You are capable. Fear may try to stop you, but it can't control you unless you let it. The more you take action in spite of fear, the more you rewire your brain to see fear as just another signal that you're on the right path. The more you embrace fear, the more you discover the strength inside you. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. It thrives on your hesitation, on your inaction. The more you hesitate, the bigger it seems. But when you act in spite of it, it shrinks. Every small step you take toward your fears makes them less intimidating. You start to realize that fear doesn't control you, you control your response to it. And in that moment, you start to break free from the chains that fear has wrapped around you. Fear often begins with our past experiences. It's shaped by things that happened before, moments of failure, rejection, or pain. The memories of these events create a belief system in our minds. We begin to believe that we're not good enough, that we can't handle the challenges ahead. These past moments create a story we tell ourselves, a story where we are weak, where we are incapable. But the truth is, your past doesn't define who you are today. It only has the power that you give it. When you let past failures control your present, you're allowing fear to continue its reign over you. You're letting the ghosts of yesterday dictate your actions today. But what if you could change that narrative? What if you could rewrite the story you tell yourself? Instead of seeing past failures as proof that you're not enough, what if you saw them as proof that you're strong, that you've survived, that you've learned? The more you hold on to the past, the more you allow it to shape your future. But once you let go of those past fears, you break free from their grip. You stop defining yourself by the things you didn't accomplish or the mistakes you made. Instead, you start seeing yourself as someone who is capable, someone who can handle whatever comes next. The power lies in how you choose to look at the past. You can either let it hold you back, or you can use it as fuel to propel you forward. Fear doesn't have to be based on past failures. It can also be tied to the uncertainty of the future. We fear what we don't know, what we can't control. The unknown is a scary place, and our minds often make it worse than it really is. The reality is, the future is uncertain for everyone. No one can predict what will happen next, but that doesn't mean you have to live in fear of it. Instead of focusing on the unknown and allowing fear to take over, focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, your choices. The future will unfold whether you're afraid of it or not. But when you face it with courage, it becomes less intimidating, and that's when you truly begin to take control of your life. The truth is, most of the things we fear are completely out of our control. We fear losing our job, losing the people we love, or not achieving the success we want. But when you really stop and think about it, how much of that is truly within your grasp? The future is unpredictable, and no matter how hard you try, you can't control every outcome. That's one of the biggest reasons fear has so much power over us. It feeds on our desire to control what's uncertain. But no matter how much we try to control the future, it remains uncertain. The more we focus on things we can't control, the more fear grows. It's like trying to hold on to water in your hands. You can't do it. You can only let it flow. The key is to shift your focus. Instead of obsessing over the uncontrollable, turn your attention to the present moment. What can you do now? What actions can you take today to move closer to the life you want? When you focus on what you can control, fear doesn't have the same power over you. It starts to lose its grip because you're not allowing it to control your decisions. The act of letting go of control is liberating. It doesn't mean you stop caring about the future. It simply means you stop letting fear dictate your choices. You start to realize that life will unfold as it's meant to, and you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way. When you focus on the present, you realize that every moment is an opportunity to make progress, to take a step forward, no matter how small. And the more you take action in the present, the more fear fades into the background. Fear thrives on the illusion of control, but when you surrender to what you can't control and focus on what you can, you start to feel more empowered. You begin to trust in yourself, in your ability to adapt, and in your resilience. The future will always be uncertain, but that uncertainty no longer has to be a source of fear. It becomes a challenge, something you can face with confidence, knowing that you have everything it takes to handle whatever life throws at you. One of the most paralyzing fears we face is the fear of failure. It stops us from taking chances, from putting ourselves out there, and from pursuing our true potential. Failure feels like the end of the road, like a permanent mark on our lives. But what if failure wasn't the end at all? What if failure was the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined? Failure isn't a reflection of who you are. It's not a measure of your worth. In fact, failure is a sign that you're trying, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than they can count. What sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but that they didn't let it stop them. They saw failure as a lesson, a chance to grow, and a necessary part of the journey. Every time they failed, they learned something new. Every failure brought them one step closer to success. The fear of failure often stems from a belief that we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes to succeed. But this fear is based on a false assumption. No one is born knowing how to succeed. Success is built on a series of trials, errors, and adjustments. Every mistake you make teaches you something valuable. Every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine your skills, and to move closer to your goals. When you can reframe failure in this way, it loses its power over you. Failure becomes a stepping stone, not a roadblock. It no longer holds you back because you understand that it's just part of the process. It's not something to fear, but something to embrace. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the closer you get to achieving everything you've ever wanted. Don't let the fear of failure paralyze you. Instead, let it propel you forward. Understand that every failure is one step closer to success. You are not defined by your failures, but by how you rise from them. Fear of failure is only a fear if you let it be. When you face it with courage, it becomes a powerful tool for growth and transformation. Another fear that holds many people back is the fear of rejection. We all experience it in some form, whether it's fearing that others won't accept us, that we won't fit in, or that we'll be judged for what we do or say. The thought of rejection can feel like a deep wound, a personal attack that leaves us feeling worthless. But the truth is, rejection is not a reflection of your value. It's simply part of life, part of the process of growth. Rejection is an inevitable part of any journey towards success. Not everyone will understand your vision, your goals, or your path. People have their own fears, their own insecurities, and sometimes they project that onto others. When you face rejection, it doesn't mean you are not good enough. It means that you're stepping outside the boundaries of what is comfortable and familiar to others. It's a sign that you're pushing the limits, challenging the status quo, and trying to create something new, and that's something to be proud of. The fear of rejection often holds us back from taking risks, from putting ourselves out there, and from pursuing what we really want. But the truth is, rejection is not something to fear. It's something to learn from. Every rejection teaches you more about who you are, what you want, and how to improve. Every time you face rejection, you become more resilient, more determined. You start to realize that rejection is not the end, it's just a redirection. It's an opportunity to refine your approach, to find new opportunities, and to keep moving forward. The more you embrace rejection, the less power it has over you. Rejection no longer feels like a blow to your self-worth, but simply a stepping stone on your path to success. When you stop fearing rejection, you stop holding yourself back. You start taking action regardless of what others think. You become free to pursue your dreams, to take risks, and to grow without fear of what anyone else thinks. Rejection can no longer stop you because you understand that it's not personal. It's just part of the process. You are bigger than any rejection you face. Fear often disguises itself as doubt, the nagging feeling that you're not enough, that you're not capable, or that you don't deserve success. Doubt creeps into your mind when you face a challenge or a new opportunity, and it tells you that you don't have what it takes. It whispers that others are better, that you'll fail, and that you should give up before you even begin. But doubt isn't the truth. It's just a barrier that your mind creates to keep you safe, to keep you small. The reality is, doubt is normal. It's part of being human. Everyone experiences it, even the most successful people. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they handle doubt. The successful ones don't let it control them. They acknowledge it, but they don't let it stop them from taking action. They understand that doubt is just a sign that they are stepping outside their comfort zone, that they are pushing themselves to grow. When you allow doubt to rule your life, you become paralyzed. You hesitate, you second-guess yourself, and you stay stuck. But when you face doubt head-on and take action anyway, you start to break through the barriers it creates. Every time you push through doubt, you gain more confidence. You prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can handle whatever comes your way, and that you are worthy of the success you desire. The key to overcoming doubt is to stop giving it so much power. Doubt is just a feeling, and like all feelings, it is temporary. It doesn't define you. When you start taking action despite your doubts, you send a powerful message to yourself and to the world. You trust in your abilities, you trust in your strength, you trust in the process. And with that trust, you begin to see doubt for what it really is. A temporary obstacle that can be overcome with the right mindset and persistence. The more you take action, the less doubt will hold you back. The more you prove to yourself that you can do it, the less doubt will control you. You will begin to trust yourself more, and with that trust, fear and doubt will have less and less influence on your decisions. You will become unstoppable. One of the biggest misconceptions about fear is that it's something we have to completely eliminate in order to succeed. Many people believe that if they feel fear, they aren't ready or they're not strong enough. But the truth is, fear will never completely disappear. It's a natural part of being human, and it always will be. What you can do is change your relationship with fear. Instead of letting it stop you, you can use it to your advantage. Fear doesn't have to be a roadblock. It can be a signal, a reminder that you're on the edge of growth. Every time you feel fear, it's an opportunity. It's a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and that you're about to do something meaningful. The problem is, most people see fear as a signal to stop, to hold back. But what if you saw fear as an invitation to step forward, to push through the discomfort, to take action even when it feels uncertain? When you start viewing fear this way, it no longer controls you. Instead of avoiding the things that scare you, you begin to move toward them. Fear no longer holds you back, it drives you forward. Every time you act in the face of fear, you build more resilience. You prove to yourself that you're stronger than any fear, stronger than any obstacle. You don't need to be fearless to be successful. In fact, the most successful people are often the ones who have the most fear, but they don't let it stop them. They use fear as fuel to keep moving forward. They understand that fear is a part of the process, not something to be eliminated. By shifting your perspective, you can learn to embrace fear, to use it as a guide on your path to success. The key is to not let fear make your decisions for you. When you learn to act in spite of fear, you take away its power over you, and you start living a life that's no longer controlled by your fears. Fear is often rooted in the stories we tell ourselves. These are the narratives that run in our minds, the beliefs that shape our reality. Most of the time, these stories are based on assumptions, past experiences, or the opinions of others. They aren't necessarily true, but we hold on to them because they give us a sense of certainty. These stories might tell you that you aren't good enough, that you're too old or too young, or that the world is too competitive. But the reality is, these stories are just that, stories. They are not facts. When you examine the stories that fuel your fear, you begin to see them for what they are, limiting beliefs. These beliefs can make you feel trapped, like there is no way out. But the power lies in your ability to rewrite those stories. You have the ability to change the narrative. You can choose to stop believing the stories that hold you back and replace them with ones that empower you. Think about the stories you've been telling yourself. What have they been preventing you from doing? What dreams have they kept you from chasing? The fear you feel is often just a reflection of the beliefs you hold about yourself and the world around you. If you change those beliefs, you change the fear. If you start telling yourself a different story, a story where you are capable, resilient, and worthy, then fear loses its grip on you. The most powerful thing you can do is question the stories that fuel your fear. Are they true? Are they based on facts? Or are they just the result of old beliefs that no longer serve you? The more you challenge these stories, the more you realize that they don't have the power you think they do. When you replace these limiting stories with empowering ones, you start to shift your mindset. You begin to see possibilities instead of obstacles. Opportunities instead of fear becomes less of a barrier and more of a signal that you are moving in the right direction. As you rewrite your story, fear loses its hold over you, and you become free to take action and pursue your goals with confidence. One of the most powerful ways to destroy fear is to take action, even when you don't feel ready. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to act. You will never feel 100% confident or completely prepared. Waiting for the right moment is often just another way of avoiding fear. The longer you wait, the more fear has the chance to grow. The longer you sit on the sidelines, the more your doubts and insecurities take hold. But when you start taking action, even small steps, fear begins to lose its power. Action is the antidote to fear. When you take action, you move forward. You break free from the grip that fear has on you. It doesn't matter if you don't know exactly what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes along the way. The key is to keep moving, to keep trying, and to keep learning. Every action you take, no matter how small, is a step closer to overcoming fear. Fear often thrives on inaction. It tells you that you can't, that you shouldn't, that you're not capable. But once you take action, you start proving to yourself that fear is not the truth. You show yourself that you are stronger than your doubts, that you are capable of more than you think. The more you act in the face of fear, the more you build confidence. You start to trust yourself, your abilities, and your capacity to handle whatever comes your way. Even if you stumble, even if things don't go perfectly, every action you take moves you forward. The more you act, the more momentum you build. Fear can only control you if you let it stop you. When you choose to take action, you take away its power. It becomes clear that fear is nothing more than a barrier that you can break through, one step at a time. By taking action, you are not only moving toward your goals, you are also strengthening your resilience, your courage, and your ability to conquer anything that stands in your way. Another key to destroying fear is the practice of self-compassion. We are often our own worst critics, constantly beating ourselves up for mistakes, flaws, or perceived shortcomings. We judge ourselves harshly, thinking that we're not good enough, not strong enough, or not worthy of success. But this kind of negative self-talk only feeds fear. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of doubt and insecurity, where we constantly question our worth and abilities. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is a powerful antidote to fear. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would show to a friend. When you make a mistake or face a challenge, instead of criticizing yourself, you offer yourself encouragement and support. You acknowledge that you're doing your best, that you're learning, and that it's okay to be imperfect. When you practice self-compassion, fear begins to lose its grip on you. Instead of fearing failure, you start to see it as a natural part of growth. You understand that mistakes are not a reflection of your worth, but simply opportunities to learn and improve. You start to embrace the challenges you face, knowing that each one is a chance to build resilience, gain experience, and become stronger. Self-compassion also helps you to silence the negative voices in your head. When you stop judging yourself and start being kind to yourself, you create space for courage and confidence to grow. Instead of feeding the fear of not being enough, you start feeding the belief that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of success. The more you practice self-compassion, the more you develop a sense of inner peace, and the less fear can control your thoughts and actions. When you treat yourself with compassion, you begin to break free from the chains of fear. You stop holding yourself back because you no longer believe that you are unworthy of success or happiness. You start to move forward, not because you're fearless, but because you trust yourself enough to keep going despite the fear. And that trust is what ultimately destroys fear. The power to destroy fear also lies in your ability to embrace uncertainty. It's when we try to predict every outcome, control every situation, and plan every detail that fear begins to creep in. We fear the unknown, the unpredictable, and the possibility that things won't go according to plan. But life is uncertain. The future is unknown. No amount of planning or control can change that. So instead of fearing uncertainty, learn to embrace it as part of the journey. When you embrace uncertainty, you free yourself from the need for perfection. You stop trying to control every aspect of your life and instead learn to flow with it. You begin to see that not knowing everything is okay. In fact, it's often in the unknown where the greatest opportunities lie. The most successful people aren't those who have every step figured out. They're the ones who are willing to take risks, make decisions without knowing exactly what will happen, and trust that they'll figure it out along the way. Uncertainty is a space where growth happens. It's where you learn, adapt, and discover new possibilities. When you stop fearing the unknown, you start to take bolder actions. You begin to trust that even if things don't go as planned, you have the ability to adapt, to pivot, and to keep moving forward. Fear of the unknown can only control you if you let it. But when you embrace it, you take away its power. By accepting uncertainty, you also start to trust in your own resilience. You realize that no matter what challenges come your way, you will be able to handle them. The more you embrace the unknown, the more you learn to trust yourself and your ability to navigate through life's twists and turns. The more you move forward without needing everything to be certain, the more fearless you become. Fear will always be there, but when you stop letting it dictate your actions, you will discover a new level of freedom and strength.